Inflation isn't just prices going up. That's the lie everyone believes. Because if inflation only meant paying a little more for groceries or fuel, people wouldn't be this angry, this stressed, or this confused about their future. The real damage of inflation is quiet. It doesn't scream, it leaks. And most people don't notice until years of their life are already gone. Today, we go and talk about the hidden costs of inflation, the ones no one explains, and why the rich just survive inflation. They often come out richer. Let's start with the most dangerous cost: time theft. Inflation steals your time without asking. Every year prices rise. Your past effort becomes worth less than over time you worked 3 years ago. The savings you built slowly, month by month. Inflation quietly rewrites history and says, that was never worth as much as you thought. You don't lose money all at once. You lose future choices. The holiday you delay. The house you can no longer afford. The business idea you shelve because everything feels too expensive. Inflation doesn't take money first. It takes options. Now let's talk about wage illusion. This is one of the biggest scams inflation runs on working people. Your salary goes up. You feel successful. You feel like you're moving forward. But if your salary increases by 6% and inflation is running at 8%, you didn't get richer, you got poorer. Politely, inflation creates the illusion of progress while silently pushing you backward. This is why so many people feel like they're doing everything right but still falling behind. Because inflation doesn't attack effort, it attacks purchasing power. And here's the part most people never connect. Inflation punishes savers. If your money is sitting still, inflation is eating it alive. Savings accounts feel safe. Cash feels secure. But inflation turns safety into decay. Every year, you don't put money into something that grows faster than inflation. You are agreeing to lose value slowly. The rich understand this early, thus why they don't worship cash. They use cash. Which brings us to another hidden cost. Debt becomes selective. Inflation makes good debt powerful. And bad debt deadly. When prices rise, money becomes weaker. That sounds bad, but if you owe money at a fixed rate, inflation is paying part of that debt for you. This is why wealthy people are comfortable with leverage. Their assets rise with inflation. Their debt stays the same. But for the average person, credit card interest adjusts. Rent increases. Variable loans squeeze harder. Inflation rewards people who own appreciating assets and punishes people who consume with borrowed money. Same inflation. Completely different outcomes. Now let's talk about something more subtle. Lifestyle shrinkage. Inflation doesn't usually force dramatic cuts. It trims quietly. You eat out less, you travel less, you downgrade brands. You say maybe later more often. Nothing collapses overnight. But over time, your life becomes smaller. And the dangerous part? You adapt. Humans normalize decline. This is how inflation lowers quality of life without triggering rebellion. The rich don't experience this the same way. Because inflation raises the value of what they already own. Their assets expand while costs rise for everyone else. Now here's one most people never notice. Inflation taxes the uninformed. There is no official letter, no tax bill, no vote, but inflation functions like a shadow tax. And it hits hardest when you don't understand money. If you don't know how inflation works, you overpay, undersave, and underinvest. The rich don't avoid inflation because they're lucky. They understand how it moves through the system. They position themselves where inflation flows toward them, not away from them, which leads to another hidden cost. Decision paralysis. Inflation creates uncertainty. When prices are unstable, people freeze. Should I buy now or wait? Should I invest or hold cash? Should I take risk or play safe? Inflation punishes hesitation. While the average person waits for clarity, the wealthy move early and perfectly. But early, they buy assets before prices fully adjust. They restructure businesses. They renegotiate debt. Inflation rewards action more than perfection. Now let's talk about generational damage. Inflation breaks long-term planning. Pensions fail. Fixed incomes collapse. Retirement dreams shrink. Inflation turns decades of planning into guesswork. This is why older generations feel betrayed. They planned for a world where money held meaning. The rich plan differently. They don't plan around money staying stable. They plan around money losing value. And here's the final hidden cost. Inflation changes behavior. It makes people short-term thinkers. Why save if money loses value? Why plan if everything changes? This mindset pushes people toward consumption, not ownership. And ownership is where inflation quietly transfers wealth. Inflation doesn't make everyone poorer. It redistributes from cash holders to asset owners, from wage earners to equity holders, from planners to adapters. The rich don't fear inflation. They expect it. They build systems around it. They buy assets that inflate faster than currency. They borrow money that inflation weakens. They own businesses that raise prices with demand. So the real lesson isn't inflation is bad. The real lesson is this: if you don't understand inflation, it controls you. If you do understand it, you can position yourself. Inflation is not just an economic force. It's a filter. And it quietly decides who moves forward and who keeps running just to stay in the same place. That's the hidden cost no one talks about. If you want to understand money, wealth, and the systems shaping your future, this is just the beginning. Because once you see inflation clearly, you stop reacting and you start positioning. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more content that helps you see the world differently.